What's up guys, it's Cam coming at you from the 2-6. Welcome back to CFR. So I've been hunting and prodding trying to figure out what would be my absolute favorite summer fragrances for summer 2020. And this is my niche list, and I'm also going to be putting together designer top 10 list, which was going to be the format for this top 10. I'm actually going through 20, so I have a lot to go through. Let's go ahead and get it going. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, 20 fragrances, this is gonna be a long video. No, I'm just gonna go over the high points of each fragrance and keep it moving as opposed to having to like break this into two parts. If there's any fragrances in here that you see that need more information, we can do stuff later, you know, like break it in other types of lists or individual reviews, whichever you prefer. Now, if you're looking something unique to wear that actually has really good projection and performance and would not be a fragrance that you would think that people would have in a list with the name incense in it, but the fragrance that I picked is none other than Gold Incense from Mansera. Now, I've seen people like crap on this fragrance. This is a compliment beast. Of course, it has some incense in it. It also has some mandarin orange, a little bit of florals. If you look at the note breakdown in here, you would not think that this would be a bright enough fragrance to wear during the summertime, but you'd be surprised. If you're looking for a fresh, salty, aquatic beast mode fragrance, check out Tiziana Terenzi's Falconero. This is an amazing fragrance with amazing performance and sillage and projection. When you think like aquatic and salty fragrances, you don't really think beast mode. If you do think beast mode, think Falconero. If you're looking for a zesty, fresh, and clean fragrance, I would highly suggest Carner Barcelona's Fig Man. Fig and fig leaves are a very prominent note in here, which gives it a little bit of a juiciness, almost a creaminess. You definitely get that fig in here, but there's also something very relaxing in here, and you've got a great aquatic note. Super chill fragrance that you would wear by the pool or even like on vacation. And while we're talking about chill fragrances, one of my favorite from Byrd for summer is Mojave Ghost. This one has some citrus in it as well. It also has some florals in here. That is a primary breakdown of the notes in here is like citruses and florals and some fruits. Actually like some very exotic fruits, which makes this a wonderful like unisex fragrance, but it smells great on men, smells great on women. The performance and projection on this will definitely surprise you. You get beastly performance on this. This would not really be a casual fragrance unless you went very easy on application. Next fragrance would definitely go as a super versatile fragrance, but is definitely sexy enough for date night. It is Raja Parfums Elysium. This is the Parfum Cologne. This one is fresh, it's green, it's sexy, it's versatile. It screams summertime. I know a lot of people love this DNA. I love the freshness of the top notes in the Parfum Cologne. I think it is a masterpiece to wear during the summer. Next fragrance is actually one of the first fragrances I ever smelled from by Kilian, and it's a fragrance that doesn't get a whole lot of love or talked about a lot. It is Bamboo Harmony. This fragrance, what can I say? It's a tea fragrance. It's green. It also has a slightly earthy vibe to it, but at the same time, there is something that is very sexy about this fragrance. I guess maybe it's the musk in here, but it is a very unique fragrance. It doesn't like scream sex appeal or anything, but if you're wanting something unique that actually makes me feel really relaxed, chill, this would be a great fragrance to wear, you know, like to a nice event, especially like if you're, you know, on vacation, you want to go out to eat that night or something like that, or by the pool, especially if you're on the prowl. I would check this one out. Speaking of vacation, beach trip, or by the pool, one fragrance that just screams summertime to me is Cell Marine by Healy. I don't know if you guys have ever had the opportunity to smell any of the fragrances from Healy, but they are very well put together. They tell a story. The story of this one is definitely like salt air by the sea. You definitely get that in the composition, the way that the notes were put together in this fragrance. I absolutely adore this one. It has some fresh citrus top notes and a saltiness in here that you would actually get just like as you're crossing over the water inlet way going towards the coast. That salt air, that is somehow been captured in this bottle. Next fragrance has a beloved DNA, but is kicked up to a whole nother level. I am talking about Nichonne's Hachivat. It has had some comparisons that are similar to Aventus, but I do think that they are very much their own fragrances. This one is sexy, beastly, has longevity to last all day. You obviously have some of that pineapple, some fresh bergamot, and then you get that mossy wood as well. If you have not tried this one out, this is a must-have summer staple. Speaking of Aventus or Aventus DNA, hey, I'm talking about Aventus Cologne. Now this is a very light and fresh take of the original Aventus. As a matter of fact, if you took some of the darker nuances out of this and added some of the brighter citrus aromaticness of the mandarin notes with Allure Homme Sport or Allure Homme Sport Extreme and kind of, you know, mix match that one, I think that you would come up with a much fresher take in Aventus Cologne. Next fragrance up is actually inspired by an evening after surfing, getting your first kiss with a possible, you know, a new girlfriend or somebody that you've been talking to and finally got that first kiss. It is Sun Drunk. This one has some neroli, some rhubarb, and the imaginary note of First Kiss, one of my favorite summertime fragrances from imaginary authors. When you're thinking summer by the pool, or even for me, as I was younger, we spent a lot of time at my parents' lake behind their house, and we would always have watermelons and just have like seed fights out in the lake where we were at. And the fragrance that I'm talking about definitely has some melon in it and takes me back to those days. It is Feelin' Chill from Juice Box. This is a salty, fresh, aquatic, marine type fragrance with a note of melon, which makes it a very unique fragrance and definitely a summertime staple. One of my absolute favorite summertime fragrances, period, and probably the best summertime fragrance from Juice Box. If you're looking for that beastly fragrance, I would definitely recommend a Beastly Summer Oud from Mancera, a Oud Lemon Mint. This is an absolute classic in my collection now. I love this. It has amazing performance, amazing projection, lasts all day, very unique. It has some sweet and fresh citruses and fruits in here, but also has a ton of depth. If you've not given this one a try, probably the best fresh beast mode fragrance from Mancera. Next up is a fragrance that I recently brought up with my beast mode fragrance that matched monsters, and I actually compared this one with Harley Quinn. Yes, I am talking about Tiziana Terenzi's Kirke. Kirke is a very loud fragrance. It's sweet, it's fresh, it has some woody notes, it has some floral notes, but you can easily get away with it in the summertime. Just do not overspray it. If you have not had a chance to try this out, I'd highly recommend it. While we're talking about beast mode summer fragrances, this one is actually pretty surprising. Imaginary Authors is not really known to have like insane projection or performance, but if you look at some of the different titles for their fragrances, Falling Into the Sea you would not think would be very beastly. This one is insane and just smells like summertime like you would not believe. I absolutely love it. This one has some lemon, bergamot, lychee, some other notes. Just a beautiful summertime fragrance. My absolute favorite summertime fragrance from Imaginary Authors. For many of us, summertime is sitting by a pool and sipping on a mojito. This fragrance right here from Killian represents that as good as anything I've ever smelled. This is Love the Way You Taste. This came from the Miami Vice edition, and it definitely has a green vibe about it, but it definitely has that mojito vibe to it. If you're wanting that fragrance that makes you think of sitting by the pool, sipping on a mojito, Love the Way You Taste. Next fragrance is actually inspired by a summer afternoon after working in a garden. It is Perfumology's Lima. If you're wanting that fresh fragrance that has some citrus notes, it even has notes like tomato leaves. This is that fragrance that I think of like sitting on a front porch in the evening as, you know, like you're listening to the crickets and the bullfrogs and everything. This is, for me, like summertime, evening summertime in the South is the best way I can describe this fragrance. They did a really good job with emulating what they were supposed to. If you don't know the story about Lima, look it up on Perfumology. It matches perfectly. Next fragrance up is my absolute favorite summertime fragrance from Parfum de Marly. It is Sedley. I actually just completely overlooked this fragrance when it first came out because all I heard from people was how lousy the performance was. But if you're wanting a fresh, aquatic, citrus, marine fragrance, Sedley is fantastic. This is the 2020 version. I think that the performance on it is a bit better. I don't know other than maceration. That is the only difference. There's no difference in the note breakdown. They didn't do anything other than let this thing sit, as opposed to whipping it up and putting it out in production. But I get a good, at least a solid 6.5 hours of performance and longevity on this fragrance. You definitely should get your nose on it. It screams summertime. And of course, what niche summertime list would be complete without Creed's Virgin Island Water? I have found a new love affair for this fragrance. I used to be madly in love with it, and I'm right back in love with it again. I've put a rather significant dent in here, no longer than I've actually had this bottle. This one has some lime, some coconut, and some rum. A must-have staple for anybody who loves summertime fragrances. Now, Virgin Island Water does not exactly have the most beastly longevity, but it does do a pretty good job considering what's in it. But if you're wanting like a twist, maybe something that would maybe be like kind of a cross between Aventus and Virgin Island Water, but definitely doing its own thing, I would check out Beach Giza's Cocoa Moon. This one has some fresh pineapple. It also has some very creamy coconut in here. Beastly performance, beastly projection, screams summertime. One of the most unique and awesome summertime fragrances I've ever come across. I personally adore this fragrance. Some people are kind of on the fence about it, but if you love summertime fragrances, do yourself a favor. At least get you one of the 15 mLs. I got the 50. Last but not least, I know I didn't call these out in any particular order, but as I started getting towards the end, I was like, okay, these are my favorites, but all of them are really, really good. And if you guys have been paying attention to something that I started breaking out not too long ago, I'm talking about Morning Chest from Valheim Perfumery. Now, you did see this fragrance in a Aventus DNA lineup a while back when I had Jacob Bryant doing a blind smelling rate. This one won by a landslide. Yes, it does have things that are in a vein of Aventus, but completely different. This one has depth of leather in here. So if you're looking for something extremely, I don't know, sexy, beastly, unique, something that you will not have to worry about. Even if you're like around 20 guys that are wearing Aventus, you'll be wearing this and be like, what do you have on, bruh? This one is definitely a statement maker and pulls compliments like you would not believe. Thank you for sticking with me through these 20 niche fragrances for summer 2020. I don't know about you guys, but 2020 just kind of feels like it's been a bust, but we still have about 6 months to turn it around. And with that list right there, that should really help you get on the right track as far as summer goes with the niche fragrances. I have plenty more content coming, including my top 10 designer list. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite niche summertime fragrances are. Until next time, I'll see you next time on Carolina Fragrance Reviews.